Hey guys, we have a new moon in Taurus to talk about today. We have finally made it through to true Taurus season, following on the heels of a double dose extended Aries season, also our eclipse season, the last on the Taurus Scorpio axis for a very long time. We are moving to Aries Libra eclipses going forward, and we have closed the eclipse window as of now, as of our new moon in Taurus that is happening today. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Friday, May 19th, 2023. My name is Aubrey. This is my video for the new moon in Taurus that we have coming to fruition today. It is occurring at 11:54 a.m. Eastern time. It is happening at 28 degrees, 25 minutes of the sign of Taurus, right at the tail end of the sign. This in itself is like indicating to me that perhaps there is a level of maturation that is going to be accompanying, or like responsibility kind of, or like just a more evolved way of dealing with some of the things that are taking root and beginning to grow and take form in the energy that's going to be coming to fruition over the course of this next couple weeks as this Taurus cycle plays out, happening so late in the sign. Of course, we read the Sabian symbols on this channel, you guys, which are a group of symbols that describe each and every one of the 360 degrees of the zodiac. And whenever a planet is at a specific degree, making an aspect, discharging a degree, we can look to the symbol, the Sabian symbol, and it gives us just an extra additional layer of information that we can sort of put as an overlay over the transits, gain some more symbolic clarity about what the purpose, the larger purpose, what's really going on with this transit at this point in time in the context of our cosmic blueprint, which is constantly unfolding, carrying us through space and time right now on a fast course paced trajectory towards the age of Aquarius. So that being said, we are looking at 29 degrees of Taurus in terms of the Sabian symbol placement of our new moon today. And in terms of the numerology happening on Friday, May 19th, 2023, that's a 5/19/23. That's a 5/1/5. One, right? Spark of life, rebirth, growth, ignition, like something happening, something growing, like a spark taking place in between, wedged in between two fives. I feel like this specific numerology of this date is kind of right alignment with the transits that are coming through as well. We are going to be talking about in this new moon video how a lot of the energy that is unfolding over the course of this next couple of weeks of this new moon cycle is going to have to do with this square and this T-square of planets. Actually, it's also a grand cross of planets. These 90-degree angles with big planets that are setting up in the sky and that are present for the new moon and that are going to be unfolding throughout the course of the new moon as we are heading towards the full moon. And that is also representing sort of new beginnings that are sort of like wedged in between, or like in a gridlock with some type of transformation or change that needs to take place. We're looking at 5/1/5. Like I said, that's the one, right? That's the beginning. That's the fresh start. That's the ignition. That's the rebirth process. But it's in between, it's wedged in between these two fives, both representing dynamic change, and usually through kind of like a Uranian flavor, like maybe something that we weren't expecting, or something that we've been resisting, or something that causes like a bit of like a crisis-oriented nature. There is, I will say, I mean, I can't not say it. There is just, with all of these squares, these 90-degree angles going on in the sky between the big planets, Pluto at 0, and it's happening at this critical 0 degree as well. I have been talking about this over the past several days in my videos, and I'm going to continue to talk about it, but we have to focus on it for our new moon, and so I'm going to mention it leading into this report, into this video. But we have Pluto right now at 0 degrees of the sign of Aquarius. We have Jupiter right now at 0 degrees of the sign of Taurus. Mars is going to be moving tomorrow, the day after this new moon, to 0 degrees of the sign of Leo. And we also have the nodes of the moon right now in the very early degrees of Taurus and Scorpio. So these are lots of 90-degree angles, exact 90-degree angles, squares, T-squares, grand cross energy between very, Jupiter, the planet of expansion, Pluto, the lord of the underworld, power in all of its forms, and regeneration, death, rebirth, phoenix rising energy. And then we're talking about Mars. This is the warrior archetype, right? The lord of the battlefield, and also the spiritual warrior. Jupiter amplifies everything. Squares bring tension, they bring friction, they bring intensity, it's like pressure makes diamonds energy, you know what I mean? So we've just got and then the nodes of the moon as well. This is, you know, destiny and karma, the past and the future, where we've been, what we've learned, and like the tests and challenges that are necessary for our growth as a soul now that we're sort of being pulled towards. There's a major air of like temptation in this energy. Perhaps a need to be able to see and acknowledge the ways that we've been tempted in the past and maybe the impacts that that has had on us in regards to like what we know that our soul truly needs to adhere to in order to grow at this point in time. There are, I feel like, forces playing out, microcosm, macrocosm within all of us and on more collective, you know, world stage at this point in time, where there may be, you know, either dynamics of ourselves, like the angel and the devil on the shoulder, you know what I mean? Like coming up against each other. Like this could represent a bit of an inner battle that we are engaged in, okay, over this next couple weeks, where truth, wisdom that we've gained through experience, what we know is right, and like our moral compass is sort of up against, you know, maybe like temptation or the urge to like overindulge or give into something. And the impact that could have on our ability to go through this necessary process of growth and transformation right now. The one wedged in between the two fives, you know what I mean? The two challenges and this process of growth, this growing season. Taurus is a growing season. Taurus, you know, even in terms of like the natural new year and everything, you know, if we start our planting and our seeds around the new moon in Aries, by the time that we get to the new moon in Taurus, we're really starting to see the growth that and what's come from the initial seeds that we planted in the Aries new moon season. And I mean, we had 2 of them this year. And so, you know, we had a lot of opportunities to really sort of decide like who we're going to be going forward and what we need to do in order to re-identify sort of like with our own personal truth. Jupiter was also transiting through the sign of Aries. Chiron was there as well. Whether we realize it or not, you know, this may be something we realize more looking back in retrospect, but there was some type of personal healing that went on in regards to our ability to really be ourselves, stand on our own 2 feet, go in our own direction, you know, take a risk in some capacity to start something new or rediscover a facet of ourselves and like launch out in that direction. There was an energetic universal push coming through over this past couple of months. It may have been a more crisis-oriented time with the Chiron energy being amplified there as well, but it's been trying to help us find ourselves and rediscover ourselves and, you know, rediscover the initial wounds maybe that led us off course or, you know, misguided us at some way along the line. And, you know, now here we are, and we have a setup right now, you guys. I will tell you, like, we are set up for some tremendous positive growth. We're in our new moon in Taurus cycle happening at the very end of the sign. You know, this is a much more evolved expression of the new moon in Taurus energy, and it's not that 29th degree. It's not that very last critical degree. We're 1 degree off of there. So, you know, this is I feel for the most part, a very positive new moon situation, especially considering we have Jupiter at 0 degrees of the sign of Taurus, just like boosting and amplifying, expanding the potential of the value associated with what is growing right now and the success and the good fortune that it could bring. We've got also like the North Node there letting us know that it's important, you know, what we're growing right now, what we're learning right now about our own inner value and what we value and the value of things generally, you know, like this focus on worth and on beauty and on potential and like real, true, authentic potential with Uranus there as well, and what changes need to happen in order to realign with that. Like this is all very positively supported right now. In terms of like a period and an energy that is really feeding our ability to have a successful and a fruitful period of like growth and transformation in terms of whatever we're growing, I feel like it's important. You should, if you know how to look up your natal chart, you know, if you have your time of birth and your location of birth and you know where to go to put the information in, I would recommend getting an idea of what house Taurus is in your birth chart, because there's a lot of energy in the sign of Taurus right now, and there's going to be whatever area of life is ruled by Taurus in your personal birth chart is likely to be undergoing some very actually like positive expansion in a way that is really helping your soul to grow and like redefine itself in alignment with like its like original authentic purpose and potential. Like that's a lot about what this energy and what this 2023 year is doing for us. Also, it's realigning us with like our authentic and original like soul purpose so that we can actually like activate our destiny, right? With this this north node emphasis, Jupiter coming into alignment with the north node, a window is opening for us to really have an ability to step into our purpose, to activate, you know, like our true destiny in a way that opens everything up for us and helps us to become a conduit essentially like to our own success and to manifesting our reality essentially like in alignment with that which is really fulfilling to us on that soul-based level. Universe is really trying to help bring us back to life in our original form in alignment with divine universal vision of the purpose of our experience based on everything that we were given in this life to work with. And it's trying to remind us of that. And that's another reason why I feel like this energy with this Pluto, Jupiter, with all of these squares going on right now, it's kind of like a test that's setting us up too. And it's like, what are we going to do? You know what I mean? Like, are we going to adhere to the wisdom and the personal truths and the personal knowing and understanding and alignment to the higher self that is coming through right now to be our guidance and to be sort of like our way up and out of, you know, whatever may be obstructing our path on the ground? Or are we going to allow ourselves to sort of fall back into like maybe like old patterns or old versions of ourselves, or just more like negative energy patterns and ways of expression as a means of like trying to exert power and control over our circumstances? It's like wisdom, truth, and surrender to our faith with, you know, trust in our faith, or dominance, power out of a need to try to control that is really rooted in fear. So I guess really what it's boiling down to is faith or fear, when we've got Jupiter in the square to Pluto at these 0 degrees, defining essentially the nature of our growing process, right? At this point in time. And, you know, how well things are going to grow for us in alignment with these seeds and these visions that we planted. Now, I do think, like I've said, like there's so much, the way I see this energy coming through, positive potential for, you know, healing, growth, stabilization, and this forward progress. But again, happening at the 28th degree of the sign of Taurus, there's a need for maturity and kind of, you know, slow and steady does it, right? You know what I mean? This is like the rabbit in the hare, or the tortoise in the hare. Like we kind of want to be the tortoise going forward in this energy. We don't want to force things. We don't want to push things. We don't want to be like so superficially, you know, full of ourselves that we sort of set ourselves up for some type of like universal smackdown. Because this energy, as much as is about supporting positive growth, Pluto's also the Lord of Destruction, you guys. There is just as strong of energy in this energy for, you know, the self-sabotage, the sacrifice, or the destruction also of what we've been trying to grow and trying to cultivate and trying to nourish within us. And, you know, of course, according to the universal laws and plans and everything, you know, if that is a facet of our experience, it is for the purpose of helping us gain the level of wisdom that we need, so that when we're faced with this situation again going forward, you know, we learn to make a different choice. That's what it's all about. Gentle universal nudges on the back. You know, we need to learn our lessons in one way or another. But again, this is Taurus energy. We got lots of Taurus going on, you guys. And not only that, we've got fixed signs like lit up. If you have, I'll tell you guys, if you have planets, you know, 0 to like 3 especially, but really 0 to 5 degrees probably of the fixed signs, you may just want to kind of like buckle down and whatever, like, I'll tell you for me, because for me personally, I have Mercury, I have my chart ruler at 1 degree of Aquarius. So with Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius and, you know, all of this stuff setting up, like, I'm in the crosshairs with you if you also have this type of dynamic going on. And for me personally, I've been trying to sort of deal with this like crushing pressure type of energy by kind of like being more mentally immersed in, you know, the higher philosophies and in the spiritual truths that resonate with me, and that I like draw a level of understanding and comfort and stuff like that from, instead of focusing on, you know, whatever the issues are, like whatever is happening, you know, around me in the world. I've been trying to sort of like mental bubble myself with the armor of God, I guess we could put it that way. And I would kind of recommend that. I mean, it's going to play out differently for everybody depending on how your chart is set up and structured and what planets are being implicated. But if there's a way to sort of like, you know, withdraw your energy and maybe focus a bit more on where you derive comfort through your faith and practicing your faith and acting your faith. Also, like acting faith is a really good way, I feel like, to kind of navigate and get through this energy. So that is sort of my personal advice on how to maybe navigate some of this if you are really caught in these crosshairs personally. But it's also likely to be playing out just on this collective level in terms of world events and stuff like that. Ambitions are likely to be running very high during this period of time, but again, 515, there is this push to create, but it's like wedged in between these two challenges or these two obstructions. Like there is likely to be, regardless of how much ambition or motivation or how high our hopes are or how like great our faith is in ourselves or in our endeavors at this point in time, we're likely to encounter some type of resistance from others unless everything is like totally scrupulous. We can either gain power in this energy or provoke conflict from people who are in power or who hold or maintain a lot of power for some reason. People can feel very challenged subconsciously by power dynamics, varying power dynamics in this energy, and it can result in power struggles. And a lot of times, again, this is going to be happening on a more subconscious level. It might not even be things that people are truly aware of, but yet they are just like acting and projecting out this resistance or this conflict or this I don't know, just creating some type of challenge or obstruction as a result of this internalized subconscious threat that they're actually picking up at to their power in one capacity or another. I do recommend letting our personal actions and our personal stances on things this cycle over this period of time, especially this first 2 weeks leading to the full moon, to be commanded by a very strong adherence, like I was talking about earlier, to our morals, to our values, to our spiritual and higher principles. This is because this is this energy, and it reminds me, we'll do a little bit of a story time for a minute. I was like a high-level USA gymnast for 15 years. It was my whole childhood. Like it was from the time I was 5 until the time I was 20. Like that's what I did. I did gymnastics. And when I was really young, before I got like into the like a lot higher levels, and even, you know, as I was like approaching like getting into the higher levels and stuff, gymnastics was a very like political sport. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure I don't really know much about any other sports because that sport basically defines my life. But, you know, like kids' parents would like have relationships with the judges, and coaches would have relationships with the judges for like competitions and stuff like that. And they would have these personal relationships, and they would like wine and dine each other and, you know, all of this. And then like at the competition, what do you know? Like that, parents' kids, you know, are the ones that are winning the competitions. And there was a lot of that went on in like local, especially like just like statewide competitions and stuff like that when I was growing up. And I was never a part of like any situation that had any advantage at all in a lot of those situations. Like actually I did not get that type of support. We'll put it that way. And I had some trouble like with coaches and gyms along the way, but when I finally got to a gym that I like really loved the coach there, and I had a great relationship with him, he actually ended up being like, looking back, one of the, if not the most influential figures like that I personally knew and experienced growing up, just on my kind of like work ethic and view of, you know, how I conduct myself personally. But he would always tell me, and I still to this day, every time I'm in any type of situation where I need to excel at something, he would tell me, he would always say to me, Aubrey, you have to be so good that there is no question that you deserve to win, that you are the winner. You perform in such a way that nobody can question it, that it's just a fact. It just is what it is. And that sort of like always stuck with me because, you know, from the time, and he would say that to me all the time. And like, you know, I don't do gymnastics anymore. I haven't done gymnastics in a very long time, but obviously you go through situations in life where, you know, things are not always fair and you have a choice. You know, you can either look at yourself as a victim or you can choose to make yourself as good as you possibly can. And you can work really, really hard and you can hold yourself to a level of excellence. You can become a champion regardless of whether, you know, you have any type of an advantage or a disadvantage or not. And he would also tell me, you know, whenever you make a mistake, make a correction. And as this energy is coming through right now, and as, you know, we're all sort of going through this process of moving up, it's like we're leveling up in life, you know, these energetic activations and these moments in time and these experiences that they bring to us are the moments when we grow on those soul levels that, you know, over time like extrapolates to this conscious awakening and ultimately the emergence and existence and embodiment of an entirely new paradigm that is being birthed right now. Double new moon and Aries cycle, you know, the one in between the fives just sort of represented, and then we've got this Jupiter, wisdom, truth, the light of wisdom and like life, and Pluto, like the lord of the underworld, the temptation, the seduction, the things that we attach ourselves to that steal our power out of any sense of lack internally or any sense of, you know, inability to be or do or have on our own or out of fear. Also, faith versus fear. So I feel like at this point in time, we are getting like a very divine opportunity to prove that we have earned and that we deserve and are ready for the one, right? This new experience, this new version of ourselves, this new version of reality that we are translating, that we are coming into right now, and the new opportunities, the new beginnings that are represented by that and that are trying to take root and that are trying to grow. And we prove this in this energy through our wisdom and our ability to stand flawlessly by our convictions. If you make a mistake, right, make a correction and be unmoved in the face of obstruction, resistance, temptation, and the pressure to conform. I kind of feel like that's where we're at. We're learning to see in the dark. We're learning to see the shadows. We're learning to, you know, be able to see into the void without getting sucked into it, with an ability to maintain our frame in regards to our future, in regards to where we're going, in regards to the wisdoms and the truths that we've discovered, and the way that we are allowing those to become our guiding light and our North Star and our compass right now. Massive growth, but also destruction represented in this energy. You know, we have to look into the darkness because that is how this energy is coming together. But like I said, are we going to allow ourselves to be sucked in, or are we going to learn to see in the dark, okay, without fear, with the adherence to our faith? This energy also seeks to physically improve or reform or fix things. Things could be breaking down. There could be, you know, and I'm talking just in terms of like mechanical breakdowns, relationship breakdowns, situational, all types of breakdowns could be happening in this energy with these Pluto squares going on. And it's in fixed energy also, which, you know, could, like, sometimes astrology is very literal. Like, it could literally be talking about, you know, all of this fixed energy is literally in the process of fixing things which have been stagnant, stuck, or broken for a long period of time. There could be a definite rebuilding effort that is initiated or underway as a part of this process of growth that is simultaneously going on, which again though, and this is just this feature of these squares, could potentially have a strong tendency of being countered by people who do not agree with your ideas or who feel threatened by your actions. These power struggles, you know, it's playing out both ways, right? We've got Pluto and we've got Jupiter. This, again, wisdom and truth, power, and like dominance. We have to stay on the side of the light, okay? Even in the face of people who are being pulled into and falling into those darker tendencies. Wisdom and truth prevails, you guys. We're heading into a new golden age. We're transitioning to the age of Aquarius. This is the age of self-knowledge, self-mastery, basically like enlightenment, where we are able to transcend out of those states of victimhood and embrace our faith and our ability to co-create consciously with God and spirit going forward, because of an ability to finally like see and root out and discover and heal the childhood wounds and the unheld trauma within us and the subconscious programming, like all of these greater themes that we talk about all the time. Again, like really being presented in the context of these aspects playing out in the chart alongside what is trying to emerge, what is trying to grow at this point in time as well, from the rubble in a lot of cases of what had to burn down in order for it to happen. Remember, this whole 2023 year, I've been talking about this from the beginning, cascading endings and beginnings all year. This is a hugely transitional year that we are in right now. And, physical breakdowns, actually needing to fixing things, doing it right, doing it better. But there could definitely be just obstructions, people standing in the way, events not going right, and power struggles going on rooted in someone feeling threatened and coming from a place of fear. Now, another aspect of this chart, which actually makes me really like it, is the fact that our new moon in the sign of Taurus, 29 degrees of Taurus, Sabian symbol placement, is a near exact midpoint, okay, to this Mars-Neptune trine that we've had playing out in the sky. I've been talking about it the past couple of days. If you missed my video on Mars-Neptune, you may want to look back and check that one out, because I talked a lot about this energy, and it is very highlighted for our chart, considering that the new moon itself is right smack dab in the middle of this water sign trine. Mars and Neptune together, this has a lot to do, to me, with that process of acting our faith. This also, because we're dealing with all this strong Taurus energy, you guys, and it is new moon energy. New moon energy is seed planting energy. This is when we figure out and have our vision board and decide, make our goals and what we want to create, what we want to grow over this period of time. Taurus is like double growing season, because we're dealing with a new moon, which is always a period of growth, but then we are also dealing with Taurus, which specifically is a season very much so related to growth. So with this like manifestation, grow something energy, and Mars and trine to Neptune, Mars in Cancer and trine to Neptune in Pisces, this is talking to me really about an ability through like active faith, acting our faith, trusting our gut, following our intuition, like being motivated through a connection to a higher power, divine inspiration, allowing that to be a source of passion, motivation, drive. Like that is a very good fertilizer, okay, for what we're growing in that energy. Like that is a very good conduit to help us ground and root that which is meant to come into fruition right now, and maybe meeting with these resistances and struggles into reality. That's why I keep saying, like, we may be in this gridlock, like things in the 3D physical matrix world may not be working. We may feel like boxed in, or like, we're trying to go through this process of change, or we've started something, or, things just aren't moving forward for us for some reason, or we're up against, somebody's working against us, or somebody's out to get us, or like whatever. Fighting against that is not the answer. The only way out of this situation is through Mars trine Neptune, acting our faith, divine inspiration, following our passions, coming from a place of like altruism and compassion, and like actions motivated by like empathy and compassion, and using our faith and our adherence to these higher spiritual principles and higher spiritual truths as the driving force of our action. Like not being bitter, not being resentful, not being aggressive, not being confrontational to the best of our ability in the face of that which may be being that way to us. But instead, this is also Pisces water trine, releasing any desire to, retaliate or, attack or approach it in that more negative Plutonian type of energy, and allowing, again, our connection to our faith, to a higher power, to our spiritual inclination, to heal us, to cleanse us, and to be the motivation behind our actions at this period of time. With the new moon in Taurus as the midpoint, that is the water that is watering the seeds in the soil, okay, that will lead to this growth that may be being obstructed, that may be being blocked, that may be being challenged in one way or another at this period of time. So we need to do the right thing, you guys, what it comes down to, okay? With the midpoint at this degree, follow your intuition, follow your gut, act from a place of the higher spiritual connection, higher spiritual knowledge, even the positions, okay, of Mars and Neptune. Neptune right now is at 28 degrees of the sign of Pisces. That Sabian symbol is a fertile garden under the full moon, reveals an abundance of full-grown vegetables. This is the position of Neptune. Things, you know, again, we're talking about growth. We're talking about also things that have been happening perhaps behind the scenes, or maybe like the full moon. This is also talking about a very emotional energy, or, you know, maybe this is saying to us, you know, if we are watering the things that we're trying to grow right now with this enhanced spiritual attitude that is driving our actions, instead of maybe this more ego-based, okay, attitude that is forcing things to come into fruition right now, that by the time that we get 2 more weeks to the full moon period, maybe we'll really start to see some true growth in the direction that we want to go in, as opposed, again, to just like trying to force things that don't seem to be happening right now. I would not try to force anything in this energy. I feel like we need to actually try to be as receptive and sort of like open and non-resistant in this energy as possible, and try to like reframe our mentality in such a way that like everything that is happening for me now is actually happening as a blessing to facilitate my path some way, as opposed to viewing it as a block or as a hindrance. And again, because this need to see things as coming like together as a result of like a divine or higher plan, and like to be carrying that attitude and allowing that to be a motivating force that's running, like the energy that's running through us, this is going to lead to proper growth, okay, the better outcome moving maybe, you know, into the full moon. We also have Mars. Mars is at the critical degree, okay? Mars is at 29 degrees of Cancer, the very last degree of Cancer for our new moon. So also, you know, right there opposite Pluto, but this is out of sign. You know, he will move again, like I said, tomorrow on Saturday to 0 degrees of the sign of Leo. And that's going to be really big as well. Very explosive. People are probably, you know, this could bring, you know, extreme rage. This could bring like ruthlessness, like people just acting like very, very ugly, like a complete, like, powerful, domineering, like ego-based, just not coming from, you know, the lower vibe places. This could really produce some ugly stuff. I would say try your best, you know, over this weekend, especially over this next couple weeks as well, maybe to avoid people that you are aware have a tendency of being more like ego or emotionally driven in terms of like negative, toxic, you know, impulses and stuff like that. They may not handle this energy really, really well. It's kind of very triggering energy for people who struggle, okay, with demons and an ability to control them, okay, and that type of thing. But Mars, 29 degrees, which is the Sabian symbol of 30 degrees of the sign of Cancer, that Sabian symbol is a daughter of the American Revolution. So we've got, you know, them, Mars and Neptune in this trine, the fertile garden under the full moon, a daughter of the American Revolution, with the midpoint as the new moon. So there's, like I've said, like big changes, right? 515, like what's trying to grow in between these revolutions, in between these dynamic changes, like something that needs to happen, something that needs to transpire in order, honestly, to like liberate our soul. Because why? Because universe wants us in alignment with our purpose, because that's why we're here at this point in time, to help in this transitional process, the transition of ages. It is a microcosm, macrocosm, the individual extrapolated out to the whole, and that whole can't happen if we're not all, you know, one by one getting in alignment with that purpose, figuring it out and coming to this higher vibration that is aligning with and I guess grounding, right, the age of Aquarius frequencies into our 3D reality. So that's another dynamic of this, is as we are overcoming, you know, as wisdom is winning over fear, okay, and power, we are also grounding this frequency into our 3D reality, and that is also trying to grow this very month, this very Taurus new moon cycle that we have going on right now. Very powerful new moon for manifesting dreams, passions, desires into reality, again, through watering the seeds of our soil with this act of faith. Okay, with this spiritual knowing and connection, motivating our actions. So this could be, you know, like, honestly, we do have sort of a setup for like wishes coming true type of energy if, again, we are able to stay out of the grip of fear, out of the grip of doubt, out of the grip of the need to conform, okay, to the group, or bowing down to some type of powerful or oppressive force out of any lack of recognition of our own personal power, our own personal worth. Like, these are the tests that we're up against in this energy. There could also be like just like a feeling, or perhaps an actual, like, some type of cost that might be associated with being able to obtain these, you know, dreams coming true or wishes coming true, or start this new thing or get this new opportunity. Like, there could be sort of like a cost benefit type of situation, or like kind of like a sacrifice that we feel like is associated with it, especially in terms of the context of what we may have to release, or what might have to be transformed or overcome or like regenerated first before we can actually like have that thing. Or, you know, again, it could just be people who have a problem with what we're doing and like seem to be making it difficult for us. Again, though, it is not, if that is a situation that you're dealing with, if you are trying to move forward on something and there seems to be an individual who is like making it their mission to block your path, to block your way, I do not recommend using your energy and actively like being combative against them, or even being passive aggressive against them. What I recommend doing over this next couple week period of time as we go through this energy is sort of like taking yourself off the game board, surrendering the burden to, you know, a higher power. I surrender the burden to the divine, and therefore I go free with the true knowledge that God, Great Spirit, universe is taking that situation and making the most of it in a way that is going to lead to your direct benefit, so that when you look back on this period of time, you're like, I am grateful for that person. I am lucky for that person. I am actually thankful for like all of their whack drama that they brought into my life, because things arranged in such a way that it actually ended up working out so much better for me. That is the attitude that we need to have towards the obstructive forces that may be trying to interfere with whatever we have going on right now, to the best of our ability, because that is the energy that will help us to maximize our opportunity to again, like I was saying, be like on such a solid frequency that nothing can shake us from the path of growth that we are moving towards at this point in time. We don't want to, you know, this is kind of like an opportunity for us to rack up a little bit of like karmic debt if we're not kind of careful in terms of like lessons that we are going to have to like go through again, because Pluto's retrograde right now, you guys, and Pluto's actually pulling back to that Capricorn energy, which is the stuff from the past, which is the, you know, the cycle of power and control that we are supposed to be moving out of right now. But with Pluto retrograde, this is also sort of pulling us back, maybe kind of like into those past tendencies again, to see what we're going to do with it, and if we're truly ready for the blessings that universe is trying to, well, it's not even, I mean, the universe is trying to bring to us, but that we are also in alignment with and ready to attract and to begin to experience for ourselves moving forward as a result of the personal growth that we've also gone through. This is personal growth, especially, you know, Jupiter's transit through Aries had a lot to do with personal growth. And now we're taking that personal growth and we're growing the world around us. We're creating an abundant and beautiful and comfortable and safe reality from that. Things are primed for extreme growth right now, like I said, but there is just like this kind of like glass ceiling that we need to break through, or some type of situation. Again, it could be from the past. It could be more of like a karmic long-standing thing that we need to release ourselves from, or like a dimension, even like internally within ourselves. Again, like maybe like, you know, the devil and the angel on the shoulder, or, you know, it could be like an addiction or something like that as well, dealing with Pluto, that we need to release ourselves from in order to truly be able to embrace and receive the real value of this growth that is coming to us now. Because remember, that is also Jupiter in the sign of Taurus. This is massively expanded in terms of value, worth, potential, but is also like true value, okay? And it's the truth of value, and it's the significance of value, and it's like the meaning, like the real, honest, true meaning of valuable, and what we find valuable and what we find worthy, and therefore what we want to grow. So again, everything could feel quite stagnant, quite gridlocked right now, but we've got to keep that future focus. We have to keep that positive mental frame. We've got to keep working towards our goals. We have to keep working. The Sabian symbol of the new moon itself, where the sun and the moon are coming into alignment, they are aligning at the Sabian symbol 29 degrees of the sign of Taurus. That Sabian symbol is two cobblers working side by side at a table. So, we have to keep working. We have to keep moving forward one day at a time, one foot in front of the other, no matter what we're up against. And we need to not see our obstacles as like abominable barriers to our ability to succeed, but rather as springboards in one type of a way that are going to launch us into this greater level of success once universe has moved them, removed the obstruction from our path for us, not something that we need to take into our own hands to do at this point in time. One foot in front of the other until things start to come together for us. Like I said, though, the position of the earth also, like we've got the earth in the opposition to the new moon, the polarity point, the opposing point to where the new moon is happening. 29 degrees of the sign of Scorpio. That Sabian symbol is an Indian woman pleading to the chief for the lives of her children, which so exemplifies this Jupiter-Pluto square, and also Mars coming into all these squares, okay, that we have going on over this new moon cycle and present for our new moon as well. Fears, right? Fears coming up. The sun's kind of like of this do or die place or situation maybe that we have going on right now, this obsessive need or drive for life and truth, right, coming up against like a ruthless power or authority figure that would seek to extinguish it. Of course, children is a metaphor, okay, for what we're building, what we're creating, what we're growing, what we're producing, what we put our time and energy and effort into caring and nurturing, right? We also have Venus right now in the sign of Cancer, again referencing that which we love, that which we care for, that which we nurture. So there it is, right? I'm not saying, we need to I'm actually saying we need to not be in any fear, okay? We need to do our best to stay out of any state of fear, because that is what is working against our true growth in this energy. But I just feel like this symbol is doing a good job of sort of demonstrating this idea of this like wisdom and truth and life force up against this fear-based exertion of like force, dominance, power, and control. So that's what I'm seeing, you guys. That's what I'm seeing coming across in terms of the Sabian symbol. We've got to watch out for any type of fear-based motivating force this cycle, being tempted to submit to our lower nature. Physical temptations also could be enemies that are working against us throughout the course of the cycle with all of this Taurus energy. But again, it's being referenced by the positions of Mercury and Saturn, who are in exact sextile as well. It's another aspect that we have going on the sidelines of our new moon today. Mercury and Saturn, exact sextile. Mercury 7 Taurus, Saturn 7 degrees of Pisces. The way out is up. Both of these Sabian symbols referencing a need to sort of like embody the living waters of God or of universe or great spirit, whatever is the sustenance of our faith, to allow that to flow through us over this period of time. Mercury is at 7 degrees of Taurus. The woman of Sumeria comes to draw water from Jacob's well. And we have Saturn at 7 degrees of Pisces, illuminated by a shaft of light. A large cross lies on rocks surrounded by sea and mist. We've got to, our faith has to be our focal point and our sustenance, okay? As we're going through this period of time, we need to act and conduct ourselves in alignment alignment with our highest moral code in the face of temptation to do or behave or to act otherwise. And Venus is at 13 degrees of Cancer. Venus is ruling this Taurus cycle and all of these Taurus planets. 13 degrees of Cancer, that Sabian symbol is one hand slightly flexed with a very prominent thumb. I always, whenever I read this symbol, I always think of this symbol as like the hold on, take a minute, don't go too fast, slow down, stop, halt, let's think about this for a minute, type of symbol. And again, in the application of this energy, we want to, before we fly off the handle, before we overreact, before we come from a place of anger or anything like that, we want to make sure, if I have this reaction or even this emotional reaction, if I have these feelings, if I allow this to come out of myself, if I allow myself to be a vessel for this particular emotional experience, is that in alignment with what I want to grow? Is that in alignment with who I'm becoming now? Is that in alignment with what I know in my heart is how I'm supposed to be acting and behaving in this situation? And am I going to make the choice to follow the voice of my higher self and my intuition that tells me, not to do X, Y, or Z? Or am I going to allow myself to be carried off in an emotional, ego-based, instinctual tidal wave of whatever happens, okay? We need to slow down, use care in our actions this cycle. But Mars, the daughter of the American Revolution, the revolution is upon us, you guys. I do feel like we are at a bit of a tipping point. I feel like this is probably, again, one of the most, if not the most critical month, this May 2023 of our entire year. Things will break down, but they will also be fixed, and they will be better than they've ever been, better than they ever were before. Remember Neptune at that 28 degrees of Pisces, the full moon, the full grown vegetables, revealing also seeing in the dark, okay? Discovering what we've grown, what we're growing into. And, either way, it's oh, I'm seeing into the dark. It's being illuminated to me. I see all of these full grown vegetables. Are they beautiful, healthy vegetables that are going to nourish me and they're gonna make me strong and healthy and beautiful? Or are they toxic vegetables filled with spots and mold and parasites and stuff that are gonna break me down and tear me down and cause me to need to go through yet another round of healing? Okay, so this is where we're at, okay? Learning to see in the dark, being able to stare into or deal with the darkness within ourselves, within others, and within the scenarios that may be presented to us or represented as a result of this type of thing at this point in time, without being sucked into them, without being swayed from our truth, without being swayed from our morals, our integrity, our light. We won't be sucked in though, will we, you guys? We got to hold our ground, okay? And we do this again by staying focused on the future, trusting our gut, and doing the right thing. I just keep thinking about what my gymnastics coach told me all those years ago. This is the time, you guys, to be such an exemplary version of ourselves, not to other people. I don't mean to other people. I mean to God, okay? To our higher selves, to our guardian angels, to our ancestors, to, the invisible powers of good that support us in this reality. To all of our past and all of our future. It's not about, maintaining some type of human standard. It's about knowing, in the depth of our soul, that we did what was right for, our higher selves, or, in alignment with, what we truly felt in our gut, or what we truly felt in our heart in any situation. And then being able to let go of the need for anything to happen in any certain type of way at any certain type of time, with the faith that everything actually is happening to bring us to a reality and an experience in whatever way it needs to happen, whatever way universe sees fit to facilitate things that help us to, be in a much better place and experience, these blessings and these gifts and these growth in terms of the transitions that we're going through now and the changes that are underway and the new opportunities that are coming, and, whatever beauty universe is trying to bring to our lives and grow for us. We have to get in alignment and open and like let universe know that we're ready for it by the way that we conduct ourselves and the choices that we make going through this, what could be definitely just like a more difficult period of time. So that's what I'm going to say, you guys. It's, you know, I do love it. I do really like this Taurus new moon cycle. Like I said, I feel like this is great manifestation energy. I feel like this is turn your dreams into reality energy. I feel like blessed, abundant opportunities, like the financial deals and negotiations and the partnerships and all that type of stuff that is coming into fruition and coming into form over this next couple weeks, I do feel like is the right thing. And it's going to have like very good and positive results for us for the most part. It's just breaking through whatever we need to in order to get clear of whatever resistances might be coming up energetically, you know, as a result of this kind of like cosmic test period that we're going through right now. So I'm going to grab a synchronicity card for us, you guys, maybe to just get some guidance, advice, wisdom that can help us as we are going through this period of time that maybe we need to know. So funny. It literally says, don't fight it. This is, sometimes magic happens on this channel, you guys. This is the same card that came out yesterday with Jupiter moving to 0 degrees of Taurus. Not yesterday for you guys, yesterday for me when I recorded this video, because I record like several days in a row and then I won't record for a couple of days. So for me, and then I kind of spread them out when I put them out. So for me, yesterday I recorded my Jupiter into Taurus video, which was the last long video that I put out. And this was the card that came out for that video. And it's, you know, look at all these cards, you guys. Look at them. Look at them all. Look at them all. There's so many. Like, it's not a joke. To get the same card coming out 2 days in a row, when this is literally what I've been saying over and over this whole report. The law of attraction is real, you guys. Universe does speak through synchronicities. These are called synchronicity cards. So I feel like we should heed this advice and take it seriously coming out 2 days in a row. We also had, again, the Sabian symbol of the sun and the moon for our new moon. 2 cobblers working side by side at a table. We got a double dose of this energy that is this advice, this guidance that is telling us not to fight it, okay? Release those subject to bondage, Hebrews 2:15. Whatever type of restriction or bondage you find yourself experiencing, don't fight against it mentally. Know God will open up a new door for you and lead you to peace and freedom. Peace and freedom. There we got Jupiter. Restriction and bondage. There we got Pluto. We're not fighting against it, you guys. We're surrendering the burden with, you know, the faith that when we go through that process, it opens up our frequency. It creates solutions. It creates movements. By the time we get through the weekend and the sun hits 0 degrees of Gemini, we have 4 planets at 0 degrees, but the sun hitting 0 Gemini will form a trine to Pluto. Gemini's options, choices, decisions, right? Alternatives, like it's movement, it's a lighter energy. The trine to Pluto, this will facilitate some type of movement and help to bring some type of choice, idea, understanding, something that kind of opens things up a little bit and creates like an avenue for maybe some of this stuck energy to be removed. But in the meantime, you know, universe will open the door for us. We're not fighting against it. And we are having the faith that that is how the process will unfold, and it will unfold that way. That's what I'm going to say today, you guys. I'm going to stop talking now. I hope you liked this video. If you did like it, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think that they would like this type of astrology content, be interested in this as well. Leave me comments, you guys. I love you guys so much. I'm so grateful for you. I value you. I appreciate you. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you are having experiences that are in alignment with whatever is going on in the energy right now, let me know in the comment section below. I also have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, Instagram, some other social stuff in my description if you're interested in any of that. And come back with me next week, you guys. Next week, I will tell you, I'm going to be retroactively going back and addressing some of the additional information or the additional energy that has been going on throughout the course of the weekend. Because remember, we have this new moon on Friday, right? So this actually, really, this energy is characterized summarizing the weekend, but we also have Mars entering the sign of Leo on Saturday. This will be a palpable energetic shift, okay? Expect to feel more energized, all right? Kind of maybe fired up. And again, watch the tempers on Saturday moving forward. On Sunday, the sun is going to enter the sign of Gemini. This is going to create another energetic shift and again come into the trine with Pluto. So this is also, there could be some solutions coming through, okay, by the time that we get to Sunday. It might be quite intense building into that, but you know, we've talked about what to do over and over again in this video, and I will be back next week, and at that point in time, we're going to talk about Mars and Leo. We're going to talk about the sun in Gemini. We're going to talk about, again, this grand cross fixed T-square that we have going on, all of that and more, you guys. So come back with me next week. I'll be here. You should be here too. You definitely don't want to miss it. I will see you then, guys. Have a beautiful new moon, and until next time, bye.